It's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White, and it is episode 523. It is Friday, the 24th of October, so it's almost Halloween. You can tell it's autumn because my cats don't want to go outside with me. You let them out there, and they just look at you like, why? But yeah, welcome to the show. We've got Venomous Robo bees, sidebar spoofing, AI risk, Red Tiger, SessionReaper, bad bots, Willow, Josh Marpet, and more on this edition of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days, cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. Our zero trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built for now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/threatlocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. All right, it's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment, or, we all have to go get jobs and do really unpleasant things in the bus station. So, come on. Please. AI browsers. We all have those now, right? Whether we want them or not. AI browsers have inherent risk of being trusted. A lot of people, I think people feel that, used to you search an index, right? And it gave you a whole list of links. So you were kind of trusting it. If you're searching for left-handed guitar strings, you could see all the web pages that contained those words. You pretty quickly learned which ones to ignore, which ones were scams, et cetera, et cetera. But now we have AI search engines, which not only look at the index, but they somehow theoretically look at sites. They ingest all the sites and slowly exude their knowledge based on the weight of all the tokens in the world, tipping one way or the other. So basically what this article was about was an attack that takes advantage of our inherent trust in this AI search box. So SquareX Labs said that they were calling this sidebar spoofing. And basically what it is they put a fake AI search box on a website, which looks like the one I guess you're used to in your browser. It's a browser add-on. So you actually foolishly add this, and it looks like an AI sidebar, and your AI sidebar already is continually popping up things like that monokini would look great on your body type. And I think you're more of a winter, while I'm searching for how to set up Suricata on Mint Linux. But, you get used to it. But the attack basically has this fake box, and you type something into like how to set up Suricata on Linux, and it can return fake guidance to you, which looks like the AI responding. Now, no, this was not how I was goaded into trying to remove my own spleen. Like I was following those instructions from a book, but in one of the examples, somebody typed in a question about Binance crypto. Yeah. And the malware created a fake Binance login, which was a ripoff, just like Binance was a ripoff. But, so it was just like, which the real one, the fake one, they're all bad. But in other cases, they had links to malicious apps popping up and things like that. Oh, yes, that horrible rash, click here for a solution. And, and people do, because it's like in the AI search box. I figure somebody's going to use this pretty soon for click fixes too, right? Somebody like not me types, how do I be a better person? And the AI says, well, open the old terminal up and type sudo rm-rf* for a start. That's a daily routine. So, maybe you remind your people that you got to be careful and just not trust anything at all. And, maybe disable the terminals on their workstations would not be a bad place to start. And maybe disable add-ins for browsers. I don't know. A study by Risk Connect this week said that around 60% of the risk leaders that they surveyed said their organizations are considering agentic AI in their operations or products. Imagine it's only 60%. I'm like, really? Who are they talking to? But I mean, AI is in everything now, right? The air that we breathe, that bowl of lime jello you're eating in the car alone right now in the alley while you're listening to me and crying, the car, the alley, the lime jello too. I mean, it probably even your Lucky Strikes and martinis are AI enhanced at this point. So every corporate officer from Mr. Pennybags to Scrooge McDuck, Mr. Burns, Daddy Warbucks all want their products to be AI enhanced and they want it now. What did Daddy Warbucks do anyway, besides be creepy as hell? I mean, that guy used to scare me when I was a little kid, you know. I mean, I think he was an arms dealer or something, you know, with those cold, dead eyes staring at you from that part of the comic page that you didn't really get because it was for old people. You know, it was like one whole page of the comics and it had like Gasoline Alley and Apartment 3G and Mary Worth. And you're like, who reads this? Then you find out your grandmother does. But anywho, in the same study where 60% of the people said they were going to adopt agentic AI, 55% of them said they have not formally assessed the risks. So, hey, just hand over the keys to Rosie the robot and hope for the best. Like, no way that agentic AI suddenly decides to sell the entire inventory for 25 pounds and a live sheep. No way the AI bot goes off and calls me a cheeky fat bastard when I call to complain about the flavor of Doc McKee's red bean and durian ice cream, now enhanced with AI dots. 20% less toxic than other leading AI dot brands that you ingest daily. Come on back to Lucky Strike, now with the smooth flavor of AI enhanced tobacco smoke with AI concentrated gel that is 10% less filling than Chesterfield's. Yeah, I mean, you need to start thinking this stuff through. I mean, I know everybody wants it. Everybody's got to have it, but you really need to start thinking about your risk assessments on the AI bots before they do something really bad. Red Tiger. Now, Red Tiger is actually a cool product. It's an info stealer. It was open source. It was first seen in 2024. Netscope posted that Red Tiger, they were posting about it and warning about it, but it basically is an open source Python red teaming tool. And it bundles up network scanning, open source intelligence, phishing toolkits, info stealers, and Discord tools. All stuff every good red teamer might want to have on hand, right? Well, and remember, a locksmith and a safe cracker have the same tools in their car. I mean, think about that. When I first moved to Rhode Island, they had this whole thing about burglary tools. And like, I was like, wow, I've got Slim Jims, I've got lock picks, I've got stethoscopes, I got all kind of stuff. So I actually told somebody, like a police officer, I was like, do I need to report that I've got all this? And he was like, why do you have all that? And I'm like, no reason. It's just for dress up games with my wife. I mean, like sometimes I'm a locksmith and she's, I don't know, something else, a not locksmith. Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. But and she doesn't like it. But I remember, people getting threats from admins for having Nmap on their machines. But I got Mimi cats on here. I got all kinds of stuff on here. So, hey admin, come get me. Bring it. I've got a stethoscope and I'm not afraid to use it. But anyway, Red Tiger, I'm a little off today. Red Tiger can exfiltrate browser stored passwords, cookies, payment info files, all sorts. It's a great tool. I want to go get it. But, they also said that it can set up and maintain persistent access on Discord, even if you reset your password. So it's a scary tool, just like a lot of good red team tools, right? They didn't say how any of this works really, but they did say that the approach of persistence could be adapted to Slack, to Teams, to all kinds of stuff. So after you get a copy of this for your own use, block it. Don't let anybody else be downloading it in your enterprise. I mean, I love Python red teaming tools, and this one looks cool, and I'm going to go get one, but handle with care. It's kind of like those guys on YouTube who raise dangerous snakes. Well, maybe not as dangerous as that, but keep it in the sandbox if you want to play with it, and make sure it doesn't run on your network. That's all I'm saying. But it's a cool tool. I thought I would mention it. A critical flaw in Adobe Commerce, which used to be called Magneto, like, okay, always name stuff after is it Magneto? Or maybe it's Magenta. I don't remember. So Magneto's an
No, it's
evil
Magneto.
comic book villain. It's what?
It's Magneto.
It's Magneto. Okay, so it's an evil
think so.
comic book villain and not the maid in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Okay. So the flaw is now being called SessionReaper, and it's being used after a proof of concept exploit was released. It's an improper input validation flaw, and it was disclosed on the 9th of September. It was patched very quickly after that in an emergency update. So, basically, if somebody can exploit this, they can bypass the security features and remotely take over Adobe Commerce sessions without any user interaction. So that would be, as we say in the industry, bad. SANSEC said that they detected exploitation activity on this on Wednesday in the wild. Adobe confirmed the flaw was being exploited in the wild. SANSEC went on and said, basically they said after a month of this, only 38% of the platforms they observed in public were patched. So people's patching plans are really, really slow, which is incredibly dangerous. So SANSEC also went on and said that they expected mass exploitation of this week. And they recommended not only patching, but that you have a web application firewall in place to protect against this exploit. I'm like, hey, you should have a web application firewall in place always if you have outward facing servers, not just because of this. So if you don't have one, now may be the time to start looking into that. Initial payloads on this thing are PHP web shell or PHP info probes. So you should probably already have that in your IDS, IPS setup as a sign of initial compromise. I had my class setting up Suricata last week, and it had been a while since I built a Kibana sim for fun. All nice free stuff, I think. I don't read those license agreements. Come on, what are they going to do? Sue me for old office furniture? I don't have anything. They can have 2 cats if they'd like them. But it was really fun setting up the Suricata Kibana thing. I had literally not done it in a long time, but the students weren't so thrilled with it. They were like, this is hard. But Suricata, Elasticsearch, and Kibana, the classic combo for your, all your free sim needs. I also learned how to span mirror traffic in Proxmox last week, too. Thank you, Broadcom, for canceling my academic VMware licenses. Not that, I'm telling you, Proxmox is great, and guess what? It costs a lot less than VMware. So, and it works just fine. You just have to figure out how to do everything. A network of YouTube accounts has been determined to be malicious. Imagine that. And then, no, it's not Gordon Ramsay criticizing children trying to cook beef Wellington. I think there actually is a show where he has junior chefs, and he's like, you donkey, you're a moron. We should be cooking your brains. But yeah, and put your kid on there and watch them they'll either become like super badasses or they'll be traumatized for life. It's like when your dad's friend tossed you into the deep end of the swimming pool and said, I got to toughen you up. Yeah, they used to do stuff like that. Thanks, Mr. Carter. But I do know how to swim because he was like, swim or die, boy. Here you go. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, my childhood. That explains so much. But anyway, these accounts are all videos that lead to malware downloads. Now, I'm just telling you, you know this, but you may want to think about this in terms of your people. Now, these videos are pretty obvious to me, but they're getting more subtle. You want cheat codes for Fortnite? Click this link. How about a crypto farming script? Why work when you can crypto? Click this link. How to avoid the license code for Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man After Dark Edition? Click this link. Leisure Suit Larry Uncle Creepy Edition for free with nudity? Click this link. Yeah, since 2021, about 3,000 malicious videos have been published to YouTube, but they said this year the volume had tripled. And Checkpoint called this campaign the YouTube Ghost Network. Ooh, creepy. Really scary, kids. But basically what they do is they compromise an account somewhere. They replace their content with these malicious videos that, at least at the moment, are focused on wares and cheats. So some of the videos have hundreds of thousands of views. They're obviously clickbaity type links, but they usually point to Dropbox, Mediafire, Google Drive, or they're just phishing pages posted on Google Sites, Blogger, and Telegraph. So maybe a seminar on wares would be good to show people what not to do, because they may have never logged into my bulletin board system in 1990 and downloaded StarTrek.com. Did anybody ever play Leisure Suit Larry? It was a creepy game, even in 1987. Yeah, I mean, I mean, and you look back at it today, I was reading an article about it not too long ago. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, that was 1987. But two particular channels that are pointed out were at Soundwriter and at FNSEO1. Each one of those together had about like 125, 130,000 subscribers, and they've been compromised for more than a year. But that's not the only ones. So be careful out there, but this StarTrek.com game is really fun. You can play as Mr. Sulu in Mirror Mirror, but whatever. Or you can be Tasha Yar or Mr. Data, or both. Click the link. Leisure Suit Riker. Avoid space herpes and win the game. Loser cleans the holodeck filters. Click the link. Yeah. Well, don't trust the media. They do seem to lie about a lot of things. Or maybe don't report a lot of things. I don't know. They told me this salve would get rid of this rash, but that was a lie. So in a major study led by the BBC for the European Broadcasting Union, they found that ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and Perplexity misrepresented news content in almost half of the cases. I mean, yeah. They analyzed more than 3,000 responses from these 4 AI bots, and they found that 45% of the answers contained at least one significant issue, meaning something completely wrong. 31% had serious sourcing problems, like, hey, they were using the National Enquirer or Fox News, but 20% had major accuracy issues, including hallucinated details, outdated information, etc. I mean, imagine that. They're looking at the internet. Ask any question on the internet and it will include, outdated information. Ask it how to set up Suricata and find how many versions of Suricata there have been going back to infinity. It kind of sounds like taking my class, actually. Hallucinated details, outdated information. Yeah. Only with less narcissism. Wait, did I say that part out loud? Yeah. Another school was actually thinking about hiring me, but I guess that's over now. Anyway, 81% of the cases observed contain some kind of mistake. So maybe not significant, but some sort of mistake. Not exactly Walter Cronkite and Edward R. Murrow, if you know what I mean. Good night, good luck, boys. Yeah, you got to love those old newscasters. But Lucky Strike, so smooth. I never smoked a Lucky Strike. I used to smoke Pall Mall unfiltered, though. Those were so good. Oh, I want one right now. Give me more. Anyway, Gemini was the worst of the bunch. And I usually like Gemini if you're asking about technical, like, instructions, better than ChatGPT, but apparently it was the worst. I've never asked the AI bots about news. Gemini was worst, and it maybe even skewed the findings since it was so inaccurate. ChatGPT was the best in sourcing with only 24% error compared to Gemini's sourcing at 72% errors. So yeah, maybe not so reliable. And maybe I shouldn't use this meth recipe I got from Gemini. I don't know. Might be bad. But the study involved 22 public service media organizations in 18 countries. So I guess be careful, maybe warn your people, because just because a bot tells you red bean ice cream is awesome, it may not be. Sorry, I just don't like red bean ice cream. Sue me. I don't. I'm weird. More for you. Enjoy. Now, rice flavor ice cream, that is good. Let me fight me. Come on. I dare you. But AI, okay, here's a joke for you. AI still learning, humans still gullible. Okay, I did not write that joke. ChatGPT wrote that joke after I had it read this article criticizing it. And that's what it said. Yeah, we're all dead. I mean, I gave it the story and said, what do you think? And it put that joke in there. So yeah, these things are coming for us. Venomous Robo bees with AI enhancements are going to swarm out of delivery bots with AI enhancements. You think Terminators are scary? How about 1 trillion venomous Robo bees? Patent pending. Well, since we're bashing Gemini anyway, Google did do something good this week. You know, their quantum computer, which is called Willow, is being operated by Dr. Deverett. I guess it's Deverett. I don't know how to say it, but I know who he is. But Dr. Deverett, I know who they are, at a lab near Santa Barbara. That just sounds ominous. Dr. Deverett at a lab at Santa Barbara, waiting for a lightning storm. But Dr. Deverett ran a new quantum algorithm, which was 13,000 times faster than a top supercomputer. And this was in some medical research stuff. So pretty cool, right? Of course, Willow, the quantum computer, and all the other ones for that matter, all look like something from Victorian England. They're so steampunk. They got all this glittering. I mean, they look like a chandelier that's going to hang in Edgar Allan Poe's front room or something. But anyway, 13,000 times faster than what? They didn't really say what supercomputer they were comparing it to, but it does mean that these drug algorithms are going to run in like seconds or minutes instead of years or centuries. So it's kind of like when they first brought out the Cray. And I remember, we were doing simulated annealing with it, and it was so amazing compared to running that on even the old mainframe, or worse, on an IBM PC, where it's like estimated time 1 trillion years. But anyway, it's pretty cool. So I think this, maybe this could reduce those those customized treatment drugs to like seconds runs. Wouldn't that be cool if a doctor could say, wow, you have this, and they could quickly synthesize a drug that would actually cure you? Yeah, we're probably not there yet. They'll be too busy trying to market it for profit. But anyway, well, Deverett's already got 1 Nobel Prize, so this could go somewhere. I want a quantum computer. I kind of want one right now. I want one down here in my office so I can play with it, and then my cat will puke on it, and the whole thing will come crashing down. Set it loose on the world. I, for one, welcome our new quantum overlords. Speaking of the original quantum algorithm, sometimes entangled, occasionally observed, sometimes shaken, never stirred, but always collapsing the wave, it's Josh Marpet. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how are you, Dr. Doug? What's going on?
A little weird today.
Yeah, I get it. My two-factor for getting in here was a problem, so I've already had a day, and then I'm driving. As soon as I finish this, I'm driving down to West Virginia. I told you, because I'm speaking at Secure West Virginia tomorrow for my company Cyturus, and and then I drive back the day after, and then next week I'm teaching, and the week after I'm at OWASP with Tyson actually. So we're doing interviews at the OWASP conference in DC. It's going to be fun.
Don't speed in West Virginia. I got pulled over in West Virginia once with my brother, and my brother literally laid his like federal badge on the windowsill. It was like, hey, just letting you know I'm on the job. And the guy was like, yeah, I'll write on the job on the citation. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have, like, the budget there is mostly supported by tourism and tourists and getting money out of them some way or another. Tickets are a valid source.
Well, they got some out of us. I think that ticket was like $500+. Because
oh my God. Okay, I'm not cruise
my
control.
My brother was driving. My brother thinks the minimum speed limit is like 100.
This explains a lot about you. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about supply chain, because it's one of my favorite topics, and I talk about it all the time. As a matter of fact, I'll be talking about it at Secure West Virginia. But the Cloud Security Alliance, the CSA, has just turned out a new version of their CCM, the Cloud Control Matrix. All right, this is a free downloadable, I think it's open source, but it's definitely free and downloadable comparison of various different frameworks, as well as a lead into the CAIQ, which is a questionnaire you can use to self-assess on how secure you are in the cloud. And what they've done is they've added, like, this has been around forever, Josh. They've added a new domain, a new category, a new function, a new piece of this Cloud Control Matrix. And I love it. It's called CSTA, which is the Supply Chain Management, Transparency and Accountability. So sorry, it's just STA. So Supply Chain Management, Transparency and Accountability. What does this have to do with anything? We've been talking, CSF, the Cybersecurity Framework, came out with version 2, I think 3 years ago, something like that. And they added Supply Chain Risk Management, SCRM, into that. Now the Cloud Security Alliance is adding STA, Supply Chain Management, Transparency and Accountability. We are moving towards the concept of an open supply chain. What does that mean? It means I can see every member of my supply chain, and I can see how compliant and how secure they are every step of the way on a continuous, transparent, and auditable accountability basis. Okay, how is that going to help me? Well, in government contracting, or CMMC is the framework of choice. Well, all right, they didn't choose it, but framework of forced on them. They have to know every member of their supply chain who handles a specific type of information, CUI. They have to know that at all times, those contractors, primes and subs, are certified to be able to handle CUI, controlled unclassified information, at a high enough level that the government is confident they're at least making an effort to be secure. And this has to be on a continuous basis. Because remember, government contracts are typically 5-year contracts, an award year, and then 4 option years. At any point, if they come in and say, hey, one of your subs isn't certified or lost certification or made a change and didn't get a reassessment, you lose that contract. And that could be hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in some cases. And hey, for a small company, even a $5 million contract is a kind of a big deal. They don't want to lose those contracts. So on a continuous basis, they have to know that their entire supply chain is up to date. Well, okay, but don't we do that already? We do vendor risk management. We do third-party risk management. We do these things, right? We do assessments on them. Yeah, so you send out a questionnaire, they lie, and they send it back. That's the current state of the art in assessments. I know, and you know, that the only reason we do that is to get some vague sense of they lied well enough that I can accept it, and we're going to have to go with it because it's what we can believe. And while you can transfer the risk that way to the third parties, even with a questionnaire, you cannot transfer the liability. This is a truism. It's something we just all accept. The problem is that this is now a liability that is so big we can't accept that anymore. We used to be castles, and now we're super highways. We exchange information with everybody under the sun. How many data sharing partners does your enterprise have? And if any of you out there who work for a company with more than 100 people say you have less than 500 data sharing partners, you're probably wrong. Seriously, not a joke. And if you are having that few, congrats. That's cool. It means you've only got less than 300 to keep track of on an annual basis. Yeah, that's still not fun. So this idea of having transparency and accountability in your supply chain risk management, in your value chain, whatever, huge, awesome, many kudos to them. And we're going to go farther with this. I'm actually trying to set up a nonprofit right now to have a reference architecture to show people how to do it on a continuous dynamic risk pricing basis. So yeah, there's a lot of fun here. It's going to be interesting, but over the next few years, we need to open up and make transparent, not just the supply chains of, I bought this piece of hardware, I bought this piece of software, I got this firmware, but also things like, you're an AI company, but you're not running the AI you're using to handle my information. Who is? And what risk am I having against my risk appetite by you not being the actual AI company? And it's a little scary. So when we understand all those things, we'll be better off, wouldn't we? Anyway, that's my story, Dr. Doug. Take it away.
Thank you, Josh. I want to work for you. That would be
You
fun.
would be welcome. I would love to have you. If I could afford you, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't quit my job. I need to become independently wealthy so I can do good things instead of evil things. That's what I tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, you need to get rich so you can quit your job and do, she's like, no, I'll just take the hit. But yeah, I hear nonprofit. I'm like, uh-oh, that could be a problem.
We've got a funding proposal out to some groups and companies that it would be appropriate for them to fund, and it would be proper, and they're going to have a lot more say. So
all of you out there, fund Josh. He's guaranteed to do good things and amazing things because he's, Josh.
I try.
It's not like I'm proposing it. Come on. Then it would be like, give me all your money. Sorry, I blew it on this yacht.
Yeah, but it'd be a cool yacht, man.
Yeah, we were supposed to buy medical supplies, but we need a yacht first. Come on.
You got to transport the medical supplies. It's just the first
How are
tranche
we
of
gonna,
money.
yeah, how are we going to get the medicine there in style? Like, do you think people want to be treated in some sleazy tent somewhere? I'm like, come on. It's like, we got this all set up. We've got a platinum plan with a VIP line.
Oh, God.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
So I remember working a lot of hours at the bank trying to get code into production, usually because people promise things that they didn't even ask me about, just, you know how that goes. And, when a guard named Bert walks up to you and offers you some sweatpants and some use of the guard showers, it's probably more than a hint. I was like, what is, yeah, I was wondering what that smell was. Did a mouse die or something? And they're like, dude, come on. Anyway, I have looked longingly at more than a few job ads in my life. But I saw this one. It was an article about the craziest job ad ever. Like, it started off with like, if you think the work week is less than 7 days and 7 nights, we're not interested in you. Remote, I don't think so. It says your butt better be in a chair on Madison Avenue with enough energy to run through walls and get things done, and you will respond to requests in minutes or seconds instead of hours. It goes on and says that you will have A-player colleagues who will be extremely annoying if it means winning. If you live for this kind of grindcore life, you can join a firm with tier 1 engineers and with a boss who slept through most of their classes until they turned 18 and then worked 100-hour weeks to become a 100 times engineer. Yeah, sounds great so far. Probably they didn't say what the pay was, but I always figure like right after all that, they're like, and yeah, the pay, it sucks. But the firm was an AI ad maker called Icon. And the tone of the ad, I called it Rabid Cocaine Weasel. So I figured it was in Wall Street or Madison Avenue because they're this, but hey, at least they're honest, right? I love the ones that are like, our owner respects your home work-life balance and understands that not every day is work and you'll be allowed to work from home all the time, and your interest in weekends at Ren fairs is great until you sign up and take the job. And then they're like, well, I'm going to need you all weekend because my racehorse has dropsy. And my wife wants me to take her on another trip to Martinique. Or maybe it was my girlfriend. Yeah, you keep my wife occupied while I go to Martinique. Who knows? It was a fun article, though. Anyway, that's the news. Thank you, Josh. I will see you next time on the Security Weekly News.